everyone, and welcome to episode 153 of A Stitch in Time. Today's Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. I'm Carol. You can find me on Ravelry as Knitsnpurls, and I am coming to you from the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, not too far from Vancouver. If this is your first time watching, I'd like to extend a special hello and welcome to you. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. And if you're a returning viewer, hello again, welcome back. I am so pleased that you have chosen to come back yet again to spend some time with me. Thank you also to all of you who reached out and said hello since the last episode. I got a lot of comments on the little tour I recorded of our vacation property, and apparently many of you have spent time in similar types of places, and a lot of you said it brought back good memories for you. So I'm really glad you enjoyed it, and if it took you on a little trip down memory lane, then that makes me happy. I know that I always say that where our cabins are is the one constant place in my life, and a big part of my heart is there. It is going to be quite a short episode. I only have 3 works in progress to talk about and very little else. It's also, I should tell you, it is late in the day on Thursday. It's about 5 o'clock, and I never record that late. But I wanted to record yesterday, and had one knitting project. I wanted it to be at a certain point before I showed it to you, and then I had some difficulties, and so that didn't happen. And then today has just sort of gotten away from me, and I kept humming and hawing about whether I was going to record, and then I decided, you know what, that's it, I'm just going to. And then I was just going to sit down and record, and then my son phoned to see if I wanted him to come cut the grass. And it seemed like a good time because it needs it, and he's going to be away for the weekend. So I said sure. And then I thought, oh, I can record while he's cutting the grass. It won't be that bad. Well, I closed all the windows. And then it was, not only could I still hear him, but it was really, really hot. So I've opened a window. He's gone. I've opened some windows again. I once again have a fan aimed at me because, like I say, it's late afternoon and the sun is fully on in this room. So hopefully that's not too annoying. And now I'm playing Beat the Clock because I want to finish hopefully before my husband calls to say he's on his way home from work. So let's see how fast I can get through this. It's already taken me about 20 zillion takes just to get this far. So this is it. This is the last time I'm re-recording the intro. Okay, so first things first, I have one sock completed of my Father's Day socks number 2, as I'm calling them. On Father's Day, I gave my husband 3 skeins of Cascade Yarns Heritage Wave, and told him I'd make 3 pairs of socks for him out of it. So this is sock number 2. This particular one is color 511, which is called Blues, and it's just a very basic vanilla sock. 72 stitches, knit on a 2mm needle, 2x2 rib, traditional heel flap and gusset, rounded toe. He just really loves this yarn. I knit him a pair of socks from it just after Christmas, and so I gave him 3 colorways that I knew he would wear, and they're all kind of boring, but you know, that's what he likes. I love him that much. I keep telling him that. So you should be able to see, I think I can see on the screen, this yarn has sort of gradual color shifts. It is a marled yarn, so there's two different colors that are twisted together and they gradually change as you move throughout the skein. So no two skein is alike, there is no repeating, so every pair of socks you knit from it are fraternal by nature. This particular colorway is more subtle than some of the other ones. I'll bring it a little bit closer, give you an idea. So as soon as I finished this one, I immediately cast it on for sock number 2, because I've learned my lesson over the years that if I don't do that, then sock number 2 kind of languishes. So I haven't done a lot. I have got the ribbing done, and I've just knit a few rows of the main sock. How about just up the leg? So now it's just knit, knit, knit till it measures 7 inches, and then I'll do the heel. So good to have always just a plain vanilla sort of project on hand. And that's, I always have at least one vanilla sock in progress. So yes, I'm happy to be on the second sock, and then I'll have one more skein of that yarn that I will knit up before year's end, but the next pair of stockinette socks that go on my needles will be something a little more colorful, a little more fun. It's still hot. I've warmed this tea up about 3 times since I started. Just can't seem to get it together today. Project number 2, I showed you for the first time last episode. It is the Altitude Socks by Helen Stewart, part of the Handmade Sock Society collection. I am knitting them from this yarn and this yarn, which is Madeline Tosh Euro Sock. Whoops, just dropped one label. Good thing I have another one sitting here. So, Madeline Tosh Euro Sock. This is 100% merino yarn. This is 11 light and this is 11 dark, and I bought them as a little set. So, I have the first sock done till just before the heel. So the next step here is to put an Eye of Partridge heel, I believe. So you can see that this sock features a 1x1 twisted rib, as most Helen Stewart socks seem to, and then it's followed by this chevron stripy sequence, and then once you're done there, it's just a plain stockinette sock from here on out, and then the toes are done in this contrasting yarn. I didn't bring the pattern in with me today. That's what the back looks like. So as I mentioned last week, I am just on the verge of having the right amount of yarn to do the toes on both socks, and so I was thinking about it, and I know I mentioned last week I was just going to knit the first sock up to where I'm going to need the toe, and then just see how much yarn it would take. Since then I've decided I'm going to knit the second sock concurrently, and so that when I get to the end I can knit the toes at about the same time and have an idea of how much yarn I have. So I don't usually do this, but I am knitting both socks out of the same skein at once. So I'm taking this yarn from the outside and the other is from the inside. A couple of interesting things about that. I don't know, at least for now, can you see the difference in color? This is much darker, a lot more speckly on the inside of the skein than the outside. Also, I'm finding as I knit that the yarn tends to twist up a little bit. And I am not a spinner, but I've watched enough spinning podcasts or podcasts that talk about spinning in my life that I think it's just as I'm knitting, because it's coming off from the opposite direction, I think I'm just putting a lot more twist in this yarn as I knit it. In any case, it will be fine. That's the nature of hand-dyed yarns. They do not look identical throughout the skein or the same from one skein to another. And that's part of the reason we love them, isn't it? So the socks are definitely going to look a little bit different, but there'll be a pair, an obvious pair. And so you can see I got to get cracking on the next part of this sock now that I have the cuff done. The project I'm really excited about this week is I've picked my Swallowtail sweater back up. So I figured now that those 3 pairs of Helen Stewart socks were out of the way, it was time to turn back to this sweater. As a refresher, it is a sweater by Jamie Hoffman of Knitsnpurls Designs. It looks like this. Color work, as you can see, top down. And here's a close-up of that butterfly motif. So I am knitting it from Fiddly Dye Works yarn in 4 colorways. So the main colorway is, gotta check my notes, this is Sophie. Contrast color 1 is Adira. Contrast color 2 is Olivia. So bring that up close, you can see all the specks in there. And then contrast color 3 is a darker brown called Julian. So I think the 4 go together really, really nicely. So last time I showed it to you, I had begun the yoke pattern, and I'm happy to say that I have finished that, and I have separated for the sleeves and body. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it so much. It has not been without its difficulties, let's call it that. When I first started out, I was doing the color work in the darkest color. As you can see, the original is dark on light, and that just didn't pop. And then it dawned on me, well, I could do the color work in the lighter color, and that is so much better because it really shows it off. So I, let me just think for a minute. So the instructions have you knit the whole butterfly chart, and then you do this 2x2 stripe until your yoke measures the measurement for your size, or until your yoke is the right depth for you. And then you divide for the body and sleeves, and then you continue with the body color work chart. Again, I'll show you. So the designer mentioned that in the original, again, sorry, in the original, the stripes and the body work chart does not line up exactly with the center of the butterfly pattern in center front. So she said some of her test knitters thought it would look better if it lined up, and so she does give instructions on how to do that. I had noticed that when I first read through the pattern, but then I forgot about it. So I was a few rows into the stripes when I realized that if I wanted it to line up, I had to add a stitch how I was instructed. So I took it back to the end of the color work chart. Then I knit a few rows of stripes, and then I started to measure it and compare it to a couple of other colorwork sweaters that I had done, and I thought that the yoke would be too deep, too long with that striping in it. So I once again took back to the end of the colorwork chart, So then and she said, if the yoke is long enough before the striping, just divide for the sleeves and body and then begin the body chart. So I did that, all while thinking, gee, it's too bad. I really would have loved to have seen those stripes in there to divide the top motif from the bottom. But I did about, I don't know, half an inch or so of the body, tried it on, and my yoke was too short. It was too shallow here. It was kind of cutting into my armpit. So I not happily took it back because it's a nuisance. I would just thread a narrow or small needle through the stitches of the last row of the colorwork chart, of the yoke chart, and then unravel. So it's tedious, takes a while, but I was happy because it meant I could add some stripes. So I did 6 rows of stripes, divided for the body and sleeves, did about half an inch or a few rows of the chart, tried it on, looks like it's going to be okay. So I'm very pleased about that, because I don't know if I could have taken one more thing of having to rip it back. But yes, I just think it's gorgeous. I just keep looking at it in the camera, because it's one thing to sort of see it upside down as you're knitting on it and close up, but to see it from afar, I just love how the light yarn just really makes that design pop. And then there's the back. So yes, very, very, very happy with this. I am also continuing to work on the secret project that I mentioned last week. So I am trying to work on that for a period of time every day so that I can have it done in time. It's on a bit of a deadline to give to its recipient. So yeah, I will, like I said, share it with you once the recipient has received it. So that's all the knitting I can show you. I have one really great acquisition this week. It is not yarn. It is a new Light, a floor lamp. So my husband and I, we have a set of lamps in our living room, and one stopped working, one table lamp stopped working, so I put the floor lamp we had sort of behind where I sit at the end of the couch where I do most of my knitting. And while it's adequate, it's not excellent, and I can't work on something like this, and I can't work on cross stitch at night because it's just not bright enough. And so we're on the quest for a new set of lamps. And I was thinking about getting one that's just like a floor lamp that has an extra little lamp that's attached to it that you can kind of maneuver where you want it. But then in the course of that, I started thinking about an Light, which those of you who don't know, it's a really bright light, kind of gives like daylight. And the Light is the brand. And I've been considering one before, not even went so far as to look at them in the store, but wasn't sure which style was going to suit my needs best, because I hadn't really planned on it replacing one of our table lamps. So I did, last weekend I did buy a desk lamp style. Brought it home, tried it out, and it just wasn't quite right. And I realized that what I really needed was a floor lamp that would extend up over me and have the light coming down on where I sit. And so I ended up returning the desk lamp and then buying a floor lamp. And that's just been fantastic. I've been able to work on this project no problem at night or early morning. It is just, I'm so pleased, and I'm kicking myself for putting it off for so many years because it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. So I haven't done cross stitch with it yet, but I'm looking forward to that because I know it will make all the difference. Up at the cabin there is the like a really old floor lamp. Like it's one that has the it's like a tension one, so you have it so it goes between the ceiling and the floor, and you screw it one way or the other till it's the right tension to hold it upright, and it has two lights on it with these like harvest gold wicker shades. It's straight out of the 70s, but it gives great light. When I'm up there, I sit on that corner of the couch and I have those lights, and I wanted to be able to duplicate that without duplicating the hideous style. So we did go look for lamps in general. Still haven't found exactly what we're looking for, so that search goes on. But in the meantime, I now have a really good light for where I do most of my knitting and stitching. Yeah, other than doing that shopping on Saturday, we went golfing again on Sunday to the same little par 3 course. I did not have as good a round. I think I added, I think my score was 5 strokes higher than last week. Cameron improved. He was 1 stroke under last week's. But the weather was good, not too hot. It was the sun disappeared partway through. We had clouds and then some breeze, so it was very pleasant, that's for sure. So I enjoyed it. I have a feeling we've got a long weekend coming up this weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, so Cameron will have Monday off, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. He probably is going to want to go golfing again, but I'm not sure I want to. I'm really looking forward to a weekend with not a lot to do. I would like to get out and work in the garden a bit. The weeds are starting to take over again, and I've got some areas that really need trimming, and some dead flowers need to come out of there. So I'm hoping to spend at least part of the weekend outside doing a bit of gardening, but other than that, I just want a lazy holiday weekend. We are going to be heading up to the cabin the following weekend to close things up for the season. So that's why we're not going up this weekend, as we quite often do. As you know, I like to finish up my episodes with something good, because I figure we all need something positive to focus on now and again, especially these days. This week's is really silly, but it makes me happy. I discovered that you can change the watch face on your Fitbit, at least on mine, which is a Inspire HR model. And I found out I can put a little sheep. Hopefully you can see that. I'll press it again. Hopefully that shows up. Anyway, like I say, something silly, but it makes me happy. And on that note, I am going to say goodbye for another week. I hope you are all well. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. So take care until then. Bye for now.